Hello, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022 and thank you for downloading Extra Healthy-ish. This is the perfect way to kickstart your new year. This is your podcast from Body+Soul. I'm your host, Felicity Harley. Now, we have got a fantastic, a super exciting year plan for you here at Extra Healthy-ish, and this month we're filling your ears with lots of inspiring guests. Now, Australia is undergoing a sexual revolution of sorts as masturbation, female pleasure, self-care and sex toys. They're becoming a really important part of our overall well-being. Well, relationship and executive coach Alina Rose joins me to discuss the sexual wellness movement and how you can boost your own sexual well-being. Alina, thank you so much for coming on Extra Healthy-ish. Happy New Year. Now, tell me one thing. How are you going to stay, well, extra healthy-ish in 2022?
Oh, my goodness. Happy New Year, Felicity. Thank you for having me. And being January, I love the ish. I have a couple of non-negotiables that I do for my health so that, you know, if the wheels fall off a little bit, there's still a little bit of support in my carriage going forward.
Yep.
So I've discovered that if I start off most mornings with the old cliche of a water with lemon, it used to be a mocha, but I've switched it over to a water with lemon. And then throughout the day when I drink water, I add a little bit of chlorophyll to it. That provides enough hydration so that when the red wines and the coffees come in, I'm still feeling like my system's quite alkaline. And another thing is that I love going for a run in nature and thinking about things. That's my fitness time, my creative time, and my emotional detox time, so that if any kind of surprise or stresses come through the day, I have that barrier of my meditative run that I've come on, and I tend to handle things a lot better.
Oh, don't we all? So you got rid of the coffee, but you say yes to the run.
Yes. So I would still have, I feel like I cannot function without this large almond mocha that I only have once a day, and it feels like a decadent dessert. But if the first thing that I drink is this hydrating hot water with lemon, and also I do like a smoothie with a bit of a few of those nootropics and adaptogens, and I feel like I'm fueling my mind with superfoods, that tends to compensate for any brain loss activities that I may do later on.
I like that. Well, so, hopefully that will get you through 2022 in a healthy-ish way. Now, moving right along, we're talking about sexual wellness today. Can you just talk us through what exactly is, well, sexual well-being?
Beautiful. So sexual well-being is a sense of dignity and focus and awareness we give to our sexual organs, our sexual creative expression, and our identity, in the same way that we bestow that dignity towards our respiratory health, towards our gut health, and our mental health. And when that dignity, that we are sexual beings and we're allowed to feel pleasure and we're allowed to explore that part of ourselves and ask for what we need, actually fuels a great sense of self-esteem and has a flow-on effect on other areas of our lives. So that's what I love about sexual wellness and what I think it means.
Yeah, I like that. And, you know, I'm really enjoying, I've worked in media for, 2 decades now, worked across women's mags, and I feel like I'm just loving this conversation about sexual wellness. I wrote sealed sections for Cosmo back in the day, and I think back to that and I thought, gosh, what were we doing back then writing about this for young women, whereas I feel sexual wellness is such an inclusive conversation for everyone, whatever, whoever you are, whatever your sexual preference. DJs has launched a sexual wellness department. What's your take on the whole sexual wellness movement?
Yes. I was an avid reader of the sealed sections, and I've probably
read you maybe read one of mine.
Absolutely. And I've been reading magazines very young, and those sections were so popular because there was a need for it. And up until that point, we were only learning at school about our sexual organs and our sexual health. And, Dolly Doctor was all about kind of embarrassing conversations. And then Cosmo empowered the conversation around pleasure and female empowerment and kind of claiming it for yourself. what I've noticed in 2021 and now entering 2022 is it's become a much more holistic conversation that is really linked with your spiritual health and your overall emotional wellness as a human being. That it's no longer about like having a pizza or having a naughty piece of cake just about sex, but it is about your respect towards your body as a whole. It's an integral part of a healthy emotional and romantic relationship. And it is also a form of self-actualization and self-realization, embracing that element of yourself as a sexual being. So, I mean, I think it's everything. I think it's the locus from which every other part of us rises. And when you think about how we are born, we're two orgasmic cells multiplying and it creates a being. So we are sexual energy. It will make sense that we come home to that realization.
Yeah, and we're finally there. I mean, as you say, it is about being empowered in who you are, feeling comfortable in what you're willing to do and what you're going to do. I mean, a lot of us struggle with confidence around sex, sexual experiences. I mean, it might almost be a roller coaster sometimes in our lives. How can we boost our confidence and try new things?
Yeah, I mean, look, often with any new area, when we start learning about it, we do a lot of research and we lean in and we even have a Pinterest board. And what's really helped me and, the work that we do with our clients is we try and learn our kind of erotic preferences. So whether you're rewatching a season of Girls or Sex in the City, or you're drawn to a more kind of Kama Sutra book, or you're listening to a podcast, start to sort of file away what resonates with you, certain things that you'd like to try, and what whets your appetite, because we all have different things and preferences. So start to create that file of just interests and, I guess, bucket lists sexually that you may have. And then also note your triggers or your limits. If you hear about, a sexual trend, or, even anal or anything like that, and you go, oh, absolutely, why not? And you bristle, just lean into that. Is it because of conditioning about what is taboo? Is it just something that you may find physically uncomfortable? So before you even try anything, I would just start to create your own private journal around what is an absolute yes, what is a maybe, what is a hard no, what is icky.
Yeah, I like that.
Like a detective.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Actually, we make Pinterest boards for our hairstyles, for our homes and all different things. So why wouldn't we do it about a really important thing like our sex lives? So, if we do want to start and take a few risks, try something that, we're warming up to, where do we start?
There's always a little whisper of what you'd like to explore and lean into. And it's about not dismissing it as a lofty fantasy, but actually giving yourself permission for allowing it to percolate. So let's say you're watching a movie, or 50 Shades or whatever, and there's bondage and being tied up. If that makes you go, and you're intrigued, start to build that up as a sexual goal, as something you want to try with your partner. Or, perhaps your fantasy is about, making love on a plane or outdoors, or even, inviting a person in. Don't make it wrong just yet. Take that fantasy seriously and try and turn it into a goal, because if it doesn't hurt anybody and it's emotionally and physically safe, with mutual consent, that experience will actually ignite your imagination and creativity and your sense of well-being, rather than just fulfill a sexual kink. It is often a way that our subconscious communicates with us about who we are and what lights us up. So it has non-sexual benefits as well.
Yeah, I like that. Now, how can we communicate if we do have a partner that we are keen to try that thing or a new thing? I mean, that can often be an awkward conversation, or we feel awkward about it. Perhaps they don't. Perhaps they're sure. I mean, we don't know until we have it. But how can we get better at talking about it?
Sure. Well, we all tend to have an inner child in us, and we all like to be a little bit naughty and have an adventure. So this conversation tends to work when it's approached a little bit playfully and lightly and without pressure. So if you're sitting someone down and you're having a D&M, or like, it just feels a bit heavy because sex is not going to the dentist. It's fun. So I will start with something is, what if, or I have an adventure for us, and I'd love to know what you think. And allow your partner their reaction to say yes, to say no. They may say something back that even shocks you back. Just hold the space for that conversation, because the biggest killer to our erotic expression and imagination is pressure. So if you open it up without pressure, possibility, should we have an adventure? Or you can even say, hey, do you want to have a laugh? What if we get a swing?
Yeah. I like that. That's a lovely way to put it, actually. What if we have a laugh, or what if we do this, or have a fun adventure? And it's the new year, so why don't you, it's the perfect time to bring up the conversation.
Yeah, and if it's something that you feel will really trigger your partner, maybe you do want to have a threesome, maybe you just want to make love outside and they're entirely conservative, really hold space and allow the no, but don't anticipate it. Just let it hover. Just say, look, would you be open to the possibility? See the benefits and the positives. And if they completely bristle, give them some space, let it percolate. And if it's a hard limit for them, respect it. Find another way to bring that in, because there's always another way to bring in that fantasy. For somebody who wants to make love outside where their partner doesn't, try it with the windows open.
Yeah.
For someone that, wants to bring in another person, it may not even be about that. It could just be going out to a party and watching your partner talk to someone else all night or dance with them. And that can create enough of a jolt in you, but keep it safe. So just remember, don't be too attached to your fantasy. There are many ways of getting that same feeling in a way that is mutually kind of igniting for both of you.
Yeah, that's really great advice. I like that. Back to sexual wellness, how can we boost our sexual wellness? It's the new year. I feel like we suddenly start looking at all areas of our life. How can we get better in work, in fitness, in our sexual wellness? What are your tips around this?
Well, I believe that sexual wellness is the electricity that lights up every other area of our lives. So you becoming more attuned to your own erotic energy, to how you like to be turned on, the rhythms and movements, communicating and leaning into your erotic desires actually expands your sense of self that allows you to bring your best self into your workplace. It kind of lights you up. It opens up your creativity so that you have better ideas at work. It makes you have more swagger, out socially. Our sexual energy is our life force energy. I've got a saying, a sexy person is a happy person. So rather than just going, do I want to boost my sex life or not? It's not really a priority. I'm focusing on my health, realizing that the more erotically charged, engaged, pleasured, connected, inspired you are, the more you self-realize as a human being, and the better your life and lifestyle and your personal magnetism. And who doesn't want that?
Oh, absolutely. We all want that, don't we?
Yes.
Now,
I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we talk a lot about healthy sex life, feeling sexually well. What does a healthy sex life actually look like? I know there's no norm, but where, if people are listening to this and think, well, how do I know if what does it look like? Yeah,
that's a beautiful question. And a lot of the time with sex, we tend to be very caught up on the mechanics. Are we doing it enough? Are we trying enough crazy positions? But really, it's about keeping your emotional cup full. Sex is about a real intimacy with another person, whether it's, just the lover that you have, or a hookup, or a long-term partner. When the emotional cup is full, and that is created through a sense of intermutual respect, safety, connection, laughter, and communication, then the physical dance that your bodies move into is just an extension of that. It's an extension of that love. That's why it's called making love, that you don't have to be in love, but that if there is love between you and another, then no matter what you do, no matter how vanilla or kinky it is, you feel like it's always a beautiful experience because your spirit's been nourished through that exchange.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. Often we focus on, let's just get it over and done with, or what about this position? And, if we're in a partnership, but we fail to think that, it's so much deeper than that. And maybe that needs to be nourished first, and then the rest will happen anyway.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Felicity. And I just want to say one thing about that is that sensuality is the bridge. That if, we're busy and we have little kids and then we kind of have to lie back and pleasure a partner and vice versa, maybe you're better off just having a bath together or a shower together without that pressure for intercourse, because sensuality is something that does engage our emotional energy, and that can start to bridge the gap. So then when you fill your cups up through a lot of touch and kind of yummy things, then the better sex will come naturally without that pressure and expectation around it.
Yeah, I like that. Now, last question. It's a new year. You've got to give us your top sex tip, something that, carries us through 2020. 2022. What am I living in the 2022?
Who isn't? We're all guilty. Sometimes I still write 2019.
I'm wishing it was pre-pandemic.
2022, almost a palindromic date, a lot of twos. Hopefully that's a good thing. I love that idea that I mentioned earlier, and it's definitely something that I implement, of that sexual mood board, that sexual journal. Just as we have, like I said, a mood board for what we want to travel to and maybe some clothes, why not what we want to add to our erotic repertoire? Maybe this year March will be about trying bondage, and April would be about maybe some more outdoor activities, and maybe May is going to be about trying breathwork and tantra. So allow your sexual repertoire to be ignited by your environment, and do some research. And, why not have a little cute bucket list for every month? Now that is what's going to make the best 2022 of your lives, regardless of what happens in the outside world.
I love that. Alina, what a great tip. Thank you so much for coming on Extra Healthy-ish.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me. Have a great new year.
Well, there we go. Just start another Pinterest board in case you don't have enough already. But I like this idea. You can just drag and drop, and there we go. Make your calendar and you have something for every month. I hope you enjoyed this chat with Alina. Remember, we have other episodes of Extra Healthy-ish or other episodes of Healthy-ish. You can jump online at bodyandsoul.com.au or follow us on Instagram or Facebook. Thanks again for joining us as always. And if you have a moment, we'd be so grateful if you could rate, review and subscribe to this podcast. And until tomorrow, well, enjoy your new year and stay extra healthy-ish.